So over the past about 6 years of decluttering my home, after watching the Netflix special by the Minimalist, I have realized something very key about myself that I think a lot of us could relate to, and that is I really don't mind decluttering. It's something that I can immediately see the value of. But you know what I hate doing? I hate organizing things. And if you look around my house, there is a quote that I now have to live by, and that is, if you have less, you have to organize less. Because I am no one's professional organizer. And while I do feel like there's a place for professional organizers, they can be extremely helpful and insightful when we are so stuck in our own mess. Something I strongly believe in now is that there is no one that can organize your house better than you, even if you are like me and you don't like organizing and often it's confusing. I am still the person that knows myself best, knows my family best, and knows what I need best. So today we're going to talk about several things that have helped me organize my home and some of the best places that I would start on your organizational journey. So let's start with one of the best areas in my home, in my opinion, and that's my entryway closet. It's the place that's the highest traffic area. It is the place where most of the clutter ends up, and it's just a place that can cause a lot of frustration if it wasn't done well. And so as someone who talks about minimalism and decluttering, I knew it was a place that I needed to spend some real quality time. When my husband and I were first trying to figure out what we were gonna do with this closet, it had one rack going across the top and one like bar you could hang your jackets on. And while that did work, it definitely wasn't using the space to its best abilities. So after I had done a lot of decluttering of our jackets, which of course is always the first step, I wanted this tiny closet to feel spacious without really being able to add any more square footage. So the first thing that we did is we took out the large bar and we put in these black coat hooks. One of them, unfortunately, just fell off of the wall because our walls are made out of plaster. If you have an older home, you know the tragedy that is plaster. We're gonna eventually fix that. But right now, we have these black hooks. They are just from Amazon. I will link them down below if you're interested. Very cheap, but also very sturdy. And I love that they have two hooks on them. Because the hooks are on the outside of the walls, it automatically gives it more of a sense of space and volume as opposed to the jackets, which always closed off the closet. Another thing that we added in here was just a simple bench. And while it does seem kind of superfluous, thank you, $5 for that word, it is very useful when you're putting on your shoes. You can have a nice place to sit. It's also kind of a catch-all area. If we have extra things that we're trying to take off of, we have a place to put them. The magic that I've really learned about organizing as somebody who is Scout's honor, not a well-organized person, and gets very easily gets very overwhelmed by organizational things, is that it's often the simplest things, like a bench in the right area, like a hook instead of a hanger, that makes all the difference. This video isn't going to be life-changing when it comes to organization, because really, for most of my adult life, I thought organization was extremely difficult, that you had to hire somebody to help you or you were never gonna get there. But the thing is, as you are decluttering, you will realize that as you take away a lot of the excess things that you weren't using anyway, you can finally see where things should go. So let's keep going. I have 3 baskets, one for each of us. And that, as somebody who struggles with overbuying when it comes to shoes, not really knowing what shoes I needed for most of my adult life, I think I used to have like over 30 or 40 pairs of shoes. I love these baskets because it sets boundaries for me. I no longer feel the need to buy so much excess shoes, because if it doesn't fit in the basket, then I don't need it. I already know I have enough when it comes to the shoe category of the closet. I also personally, for myself, don't have shoes outside any hidden areas in my house. They're not in my closet. I don't switch over for the different seasons. That is for me, because I struggle with memory, and if I hide my shoes, I don't remember that I have them. Please comment if you are like me and you have that same problem. But I like these baskets also because you can take them out and you can shake out, clean out the basket easily right outside my door, and then I just bring the basket back in and put it back in its spot. I'll vacuum around it. It is so much easier for me personally to clean these baskets than for me to take out a whole shoe rack and try and clean that out and dump it out. And for the baskets, for me, it is just so easy to just dump your shoes in and go. If you are a dump and go kind of person like I am, I have found this change from the shoe rack to a basket to be a lot easier. You just can't organize clutter. When you try to, it adds a lot more stress to your life, and you will be at the point where you just think nothing will work. If you really acknowledge that you only have a finite amount of space, which any professional organizer will tell you as well, and that when you try to organize things that cannot fit in the space, it doesn't matter if you try to squish them into airbags, it's still not gonna really work for you because you're not gonna know what you have and you're gonna forget what's in that space. So now let's look up at the top of this closet, and I really like the way that I have added a few baskets. And I know one of them is just massive, doesn't actually fit. It's a basket that I ended up finding outside of my house. And so in your entryway, what are you noticing is being dropped in that space? For me personally, we have a basket that has all of our hats, all of our scarves, all of our gloves. The outside stuff was always being dropped right by the door. Not necessarily something we needed on a daily basis, but definitely something we needed often. And then in the other basket in the middle, we have things that are what I like to call like a tier 2. So I have things like our book bag that we use when we go out hiking. We want that book bag easy to access. We also have things like jump socks in there and cords that we often need for our phones or our computer, but we need them a lot, but not every day. So they don't need to be right in our face. Having a designated space for an item sounds easy, but was really hard for me for a long time until I finally just started trying. And then the last basket we use for all of our games, and also we just got a pottery wheel for my daughter, so we put that in there as well. We love game nights. So what does your family really like to do? And maybe even you just want to do more of it. If you want to read more, then have those things easy to access for you so that you automatically are seeing them. They are easy to grab and quickly easy to put away. The most important thing that I would take away from this, if you are still struggling with organization, is that every little bit that you try something, the light bulbs will start going off of either, hey, that didn't work, or which I do think you will find more and more often as you really start to trust yourself, is that, hey, I just put a bowl here, and this simple bowl now holds things like my keys. And I see, okay, I have a place for that. What could I do next that might help the next place in my life that's still disorganized? So we're gonna travel upstairs now, and we are gonna go into my bathroom because, whew, girl, very overwhelming. And even to this day, I will link it down below. I recently just did a whole month-long boxing party in the bathroom, which was a fantastic experience. In the bathroom, there are certain things that I would definitely recommend trying and seeing if they work for you. The first thing that I would try is getting rid of any decor. So that doesn't sound like an organizational thing, right? But the less decor that you have in a space that's already hard to keep clean, the easier then it will be to visualize what you could put in there that would help you with all the stuff you do need to have. So for me, I had these big wooden shelves, and they really didn't have any purpose besides to hold tchotchkes, which you don't really want in the bathroom, in my personal experience. I used to keep all my toothbrushes out. I used to keep some makeup out on the counter. And while there's nothing fundamentally, that's not a word, nothing fundamentally wrong with that, of course, I remember one of you guys wrote me and said, why don't you just put the toothbrushes inside of the drawer? And until one of you guys said that, that never crossed my mind. You don't know until you know, right? So I have a tray, and the tray holds our soap And now I just got a new little lotion. When you add a tray to a space, it takes the 2 or 3 things that you have to have out and it makes them look like one thing. I wish I could give that credit to somebody, but I honestly don't remember where I learned that. I just know I learned it from somebody wonderful. So thank you, whoever you are. Also in our drawers, we have very simple little plastic containers, and that holds and separates out some of the basic necessity items. When you go underneath our sink, you'll see that I put the trash can inside of the sink. I have some very simple containers that you can get from any of your local stores. I'll list a few that I have down below, but I wouldn't go out and buy a bunch. If you are looking through this video of the things that I'm suggesting, I want you to maybe pick out one. Test it out for a week, a month. Did it work for you? If not, hey, you didn't spend a ton of money on it. The other beautiful thing that I love about this bathroom is the closet. That is like my light bulb finally went off moment, and that were these baskets. The ones that I have in here were from Target. Best baskets I've ever had. If you're somebody like me who struggles with overbuying, and not realizing what I have, finding baskets with lids will automatically set your boundaries for you. Not all of us need it, but I did. I needed, my basket says, hey girl, like, no ma'am, you're done. So, yeah, anyway, so I use these baskets for, sorry, my cold is setting in. I use these baskets for my medicine. That is probably the most important one that I have. I use it for my hair products, and I have another one down at the bottom for my towels. When the lid cannot shut, which I actually just realized this morning, we just went on a 2.5-week trip, bought some extra medicines that we knew we wanted to take with us. And in doing so, we have now over flooded our medicine cabinet basket. So because the lid doesn't fit anymore, it's a red flag. Hey girl, no, you have too much stuff. I guess I'm talking to myself, right? If you have a hard time recognizing and setting limits for yourself, knowing what I like to call your threshold for clutter, whenever you can put a lid on something, you are giving yourself the signal to say, stop, something is wrong. Let me know if this is you, but my downfall in organization was often I just thought I needed to get another basket. If I had another basket, then I could keep all of these things and they would look good again. That thinking led me to overwhelm, anxiety, and just basically feeling pretty miserable in my home. But having that lid in the bathroom has stopped me so many times from questioning whether I needed to keep things, because if it didn't fit, it didn't fit. There was a lid. I have all of the things that are visually very overwhelming for me, like the hair products all being out, the medicine, the soaps. They are contained. If you're somebody like me who gets easily overstimulated by a lot of items, you might not even know that that is your problem. I didn't know for a long time until I realized when I don't have to look at so much, I feel a lot more calm. Having some baskets where you cannot see in, just labeling them like I did on the lids, will help that space always feel a lot more peaceful to be in. If you do like learning about minimalism and you want to join a fun community here where we talk about decluttering and minimizing, then please hit the subscribe button. And also, if you are decluttering here with us, then throw a heart emoji down below. But let's go to the last room, and that's where I'm going to talk about my bedroom. Personally, don't have any containers under my bed. That has a lot to do with my own issue with remembering what I have under there. And while I do see the value in having under bed storage, not gonna tell anyone not to do it. If you are switching out your clothes and you're often forgetting what you have underneath there, then you might wanna start questioning, is that really useful to me? Or is it possible that I could declutter to the point where I could have just my clothes out? I found that a lot of the headache and anxiety came from not knowing what I had. So if that's you, no judgment, that was me. And Having a lot of excess storage hidden away in your house might not be the right solution for you. We used to have one straight large bar that went across our whole closet. All of our clothes just got shoved together. There was no rhyme or reason. My husband got some wood from our local Home Depot. We got some black brackets that were just on Amazon. We created our own shelving unit. It was a million times cheaper than buying something that was already set up. It was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. And even with the wood that we got from Home Depot, our local one has a place where you can ask someone to actually cut down your pieces of wood to exactly your measurements. So if you do a good job measuring out your space and your shelving that you want, you can actually have them cut it for you. It's one less step for you to have to go do at home. I had some baskets I had put in there in the beginning that were very cheap, very flimsy. I think it was last year, my husband bought me the new ones that I really, really wanted. They're much more sturdy. And like in the bathroom, like with the shoes in my closet downstairs, the baskets set your limits. When I had a bunch of drawers, I found that I could easily stuff things in there and forget. But because this is open, which I know won't work for everybody, but forces me to deal with my clothing and really the addiction I had to buying more clothing. And then instead of the hanging clothes all going through the middle, we have 2 black bars each. Is a much better solution than having one large bar go across our entire closet. We all have different homes. We all are gonna need different things. But I'm really hoping the takeaway that you can see from this video is that I am not a professional organizer and I really struggle with organization. That is not something that has completely changed. What has changed is that I am more comfortable in trying things. And I have also put in the work to address the clutter and change my mindset about it. It's not how can I fit all my clutter into this space. It's what can this space hold? My things have to fit in that space now that I've organized. And if they can't, then they either have to go somewhere else or they have to go, because my home, as we all like to say, is not a storage unit. My home is my pride and joy. My home is where I find peace, but it is certainly not a place that I need to feel overwhelmed and anxiety. And if you're feeling that today still, there is definitely hope. And coming from somebody who was a shopaholic and who really struggled with this for most of my adult life, you taking small changes, even watching to the end of this video, is life-changing. You are doing something life-changing for yourself. And I wish you guys all the absolute very best. And if you want to continue your journey, then please hit one of these videos right here, and I wish you guys all the very best.